Welcome back to our program tonight. I want to take you straight to the launch of the Ghana Business Enabling Environment Program, BEEP, Accountability and Advocacy Project. It's been unveiled to kickstart discussions on the profits and progress made in ensuring a suitable business climate in the country. That event ended a while ago. My colleague Charles Aite was there for us. Charles, thanks for your time tonight. Just break that down for us. What is this project all about?
As you rightly stated, the project is all about, heightening advocacy and, of course, ensuring that we put government on their feet when it comes to providing an enabling environment in this business landscape that we're talking about. But one thing we have to understand, Daryl, is that this very project is etched on 4 key issues that we're going to be looking at in the next few weeks or even months ahead. Issues of tax administration in the country, business registration as well, issues concerning that of the customs, paperless port systems, and everything that has to do with it. You already know that whenever we're having these discussions, there are specific lapses that we all are concerned about, the business environment is concerned about. And to this effect, we have been joined by just 2 honorable men, and we have one person from the IAA, one of the coalition partners, and that's of the Private Enterprise Federation, the leading advocate in this very agenda. So let me start off with Dr. Nanaose Bonsu of PEF, the president of PEF, to get his thoughts on today's event and the days ahead. Many thanks for your time, Doctor. So during your presentation, you made mention of the need for technology. That was what caught my mind, the need for technology in tax revenue administration. How important is this, and how much have we been losing out over the past few years?
Well, we don't so far have the quantum amount of losses incurred or the difficulty of not being able to recoup all the tax revenue that the government could have earned. So the essence is that the interface between people and the difficulty in private sector making assessments as to their liability to be in compliance voluntarily had been the bane of why taxes are not being paid by the private sector, or why the taxes collected are not in line with what we expect it to be. So the essence is the use of technology, where the private sector sitting at their homes can individually or together in their offices do the assessment and then make the payment through the electronic system to a bank account without any interface with a human being. Because what we have recognized over the years is that the interface with people creates opportunities for malfeasance, and much more the miscalculation, and also the kind of training capacities that can be built when you're using IT with the instructions manual on the side. It makes it easier for private sector to do on their own, because as I said earlier, these are small medium enterprises, these are micro institutions without the capacities. So if they are going to be able to do it, they need the instructions manual, they need the opportunity, because they cannot afford consultants to do it for them.
Interesting point, but just hold on that thought for me, because we also have here with us that was Professor Sesibe from the IAA, and they are part of the coalition partners from the University of Ghana Economic Department. First of all, you made mention in your speech the need for us to dwell on facts and figures, the hard facts, whenever we're measuring the progress made in ensuring an environment in Ghana. So walk us through the hard facts. How are we performing?
Well, I mean, we're talking about evidence-based advocacy. So we have to have the hard fact to back whatever that we are doing. We look at Ghana's ease of doing business ranking, and we not been doing so well, although we have improved significantly. We are currently around 108 as far as the starting business is concerned. But if you compare us to comparator countries like Cote d'Ivoire, like Senegal, like Rwanda, they're all doing much better than we are doing. And so the question is, why haven't we, or why is the progress been so slow in the reforms that have been started over the last couple of years? Because creating the enabling business environment is a very good thing for this country. We're talking about FDI inflows. Now, the FDI inflows is very competitive. Businesses are always looking for a conducive environment where their investment can be well protected, where the cost of doing business is very low. Starting business is easy. And so if you have that kind of environment, you are more likely to attract much more FDI coming in. And when FDI comes in, you know the impact that it has on the economy. It creates jobs, it gives government revenue. And even for our own informal sector, as we said here, we have one of the largest informal sector in Africa. About 86% of businesses are within the informal sector. And we are talking about formalization. So how do we formalize or restructure the informal sector? It's getting these businesses to go on the national database system that is registering their business. And once you register businesses, there are so many advantages that accrue to they themselves as business people and also to government. Yes, because once your business is registered, you can walk into a bank and you can have access to credit. And of course, it helps you to also plan your business and to have partnership and to attract capital and all of that. And government also, you know, will be able to get the needed revenue to embark on all the developmental projects that is envisaging.
Great. I think we have even already started the discussion, even as we get into this advocacy project proper. But just to end with you in just 30 seconds, if you could help us understand, you have stated, we did hear in the program, that investors are worried. Yes, we are making advances in ensuring an environment, but there still remain situations at hand.
Yeah.
How best can we quicken up?
The best way is to speed up the reform process. Those that are not needed, wipe them out. Those that are needed, clean them so you can do them within as short as possible time. And using electronic system which is available, we should be able to do it.
Thank you very much. So you did hear that, Darrow. Very interesting comment. Let me just take just something short from you. How do we quicken up?
Yeah, I think for me, it's about sensitization and awareness for people to know what government is doing, the reforms, and then the various platforms that have been put together electronically to help people, businesses to actually get on the portal.
Thank you very much, Professor, for your time here with us. So you did hear from both sides of the coin. We shall be advancing this discussion as we move on. As you do know, it's going to be on all our platforms, the multimedia platforms, and we shall be interrogating the issues at hand. Darrell.
Great reporting, Charles. Thanks very much indeed. Now, the Ministry of Railways Development says it will need about $8 billion to rehabilitate the country's rail sector. Speaking to Joy Business at the relaunch of the Accra-Tema rail service after a temporary shutdown, Sector Minister Joe Gatti said his outfit is employing several means, including fencing the country's rail lines to deal with activities of encroachers.
Looks like there's a lot on the table, but where are we getting funding for all these projects in the railway sector? And how much can we say that, okay, if you want to rehabilitate the rail sector or transform the rail sector, this is the amount it's going to cost us to do that?
You know, people, let's say that let's cost a kilometer of rail between 3 million and 5 million. Or even 3 million and 6 million, depending on whether it's electric or diesel, depending on the obstacles you meet on the way and so on. So let's give it an average of 4 million for the sake of argument. And it doesn't mean that some places may be more, some places may be less. We are seeking to do 1,400 kilometers, and then you add another 1,200 kilometers, over 2,000 kilometers. If you times it by 4, it's $8 billion. Me and you know that the government of Ghana does not have $8 billion sitting down to go into rail. So we are using a number of financial models. We are using the BOT, where we invite people to come and join with us, build, operate, and transfer. We are using the BOT plus government participation, where we take a bit of it. We can value our assets, and assets will be part of the contribution. We are taking loans for some. For example, Accra and Pakadan is an Indian Exim loan, and also some of it, the rehabilitation, we're funding it ourselves. So it's a multitude of financing methods you are using.
Okay, so are we still going with a plan of having sky trains?
Some people who have done research and feel that that is the easiest and the least cost-effective and the least intrusive manner. They've given it a nice name called sky train, but really it's a train that is running on a pylon or a bridge. What are we doing? We are not putting our money in that. We are doing it by way of BOT. But the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund has invested in that project. As an anchor investor, you can talk to them. And so just now, we've reached the stage where they are doing their feasibility. When they bring their feasibility and they give us proposals, and I take it to cabinet, and it's good enough, we'll do it. If the proposal is not good enough, we won't do it.
Okay, but Honorable, you agree that
All right, my colleague Sandra Isnafenu on that coach there, speaking to the Railways Minister, Jogate. She joined the train from Accra to Tema, and has joined me in the studio to share her experience. I guess I'm going to start first with how the ride was.
Fantastic, quite different. I've been fortunate to be on a Ghana train before, so it's quite different because they've added certain services that hitherto was not part of the services. So in the past, when I took the train, I didn't get any safety tip, but this time, like you have on the plane, they take you through some safety measures and tips before the train embarks, and as well, we have neatly dressed assistants or hostess who were able to explain things to us in the local dialect as well. So it kind of helped, and the train looked a bit spacious than I imagined, yeah, and neat inside was quite.
Okay, I mean, for those watching, maybe they're wondering, why is this so much of a big deal that we've relaunched the rail service from Accra to Tema? Why is this such a big deal?
You know that for some time now, the rail sector has really helped a lot of, especially traders, along the Odo through to Tema. And so for traders, it was a cheaper means of transport to the market centers and all that. And for 2 years, the service was shut down because of some accidents and maintenance work on the rail sector. And it's also part of this government's agenda to transform the rail sector. And so, I mean, revamping the sector and bringing new coaches was some sort of relief to both governments and commuters as well. And the most interesting part about this whole thing is that for 2 weeks, you're going to have free ride.
That's quite a deal. You talk about revamping the rail sector. Now we have the Accra-Tema rail line active, but we also have several other rail lines that are not performing to standard or are out of service. What has the sector minister got to say about plans to revamp those areas?
Well, currently the Accra-Nsawam rail line is working, and it was only the Accra-Tema lane that was suspended for some time because of activities of encroachers. And so the Eastern and Western corridor rail lines are also under some sort of maintenance as we speak now. The minister spoke to me about funding and what is currently happening. There's some reviews that are going as far as funding is concerned, and some contracts have been awarded. Mind you, they also have a project that links Ouagadougou to from the northern sector, that's from Tamale, Bolgatanga to Ouagadougou as well. And that one, 16 companies some time back tendered in their proposals to work on the rail line. And we understand now it's been brought down to 12. And that will be reviewed further, and then finally a contract will be awarded to one of the selected companies to work on that as well. So a lot is happening actually, but one of the things that we've not been able to tackle well is the activities of encroachers. It was clear right after the Christmas holidays, and they were supposed to open the Accra-Tema rail line, but that was suspended also because there were encroachers still on the properties of the railway company, and so it was suspended for an extra 2 weeks to make way for some sort of intervention to be able to deal with encroachers. But unfortunately, it's not been able to be done successfully. As we speak now today, it's one of the things I was not too excited about. I saw from shoes, clothes to whatever, food stuff, even restaurant, I won't call it restaurant, I mean food joints were operating so close to the railway lines, and the minister said dangerous. Very dangerous. The minister is saying that we've not been able to deal with them, but we can't shut the service down permanently. So one of the ways they are looking forward to deal with this issue of encroachers is to start fencing the walls, as he said in the soundbite. And he's saying that we're not going to fence all the railway lines, but where encroachment is heavy, where they feel that it's necessary, because it's going to come with a lot of cost. And so when they feel it's necessary, they are going to send a bill to Parliament to propose some means of financing. If they're able to secure some funding, they'll be able to fence the rail lines.
Yeah, and I know that you're going to have an extensive on this for Joy Business Prime when you come with that segment. what more are we going to hear from the sector minister?
Right. You know, one of the issues has to do, we are struggling to deal with rail lines. I mean, those on the ground, but we are talking about going for a sky train.
I heard you talk to him about that.
How viable is that?
Mm.
So the sky train is another conversation that we want to talk about. Now, South Africa, it looks as if Ghana is looking forward or looking at South Africa for a lot of interventions, but it looks like sometimes they also had issues on their own. The sector is not doing well. They had a bailout and some finances had to be injected back into it. So if you're looking at them as a model, how do we ensure that going forward, we also have some capital? The minister will be talking to us about some interventions to be able to make money aside the rail system itself so that they can inject it into the rail sector.
All right, thanks very much. Indeed, Sandra is now a She comes your way in about 2 hours' time with more on that on the business segment of JoyNews Prime. Let's move away from that and turn to other stories. Implementation of the ECOWAS Common External Tariff, CET, adopted by member states in the sub-region has been identified as a cause for high charges on import duties and the increase in the cost of doing business at the ports. The Ghana Revenue Authority started implementing the CET in February 2016 after some countries in the sub-region started the process. National organizer of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, that is Clement Boateng, is however advocating a withdrawal of the program for a second look in order to minimize the ease of doing business at the ports. Here's more in this report.
The Common External Tariff is a payment regime adopted by all ECOWAS member countries to facilitate trade along the borders of the various countries. Ghana began implementing the CET in the first quarter of 2016 in a quest to improve trade at the major ports as part of the WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement. Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, thinks the process has been rushed and is affecting business at the port. Clement Boateng is the national organizer of GUTA.
As far as GUTA is concerned, there has been some increase on the common ECOWAS external tariff regards to confectionery and I think hardware and some other items. So that is the more reason why we are calling for this stakeholder engagement. And if I were to show you a duty paper or a declaration here, you see that we have about 15 or 16 levies and taxes that we are paying. So if you do a cumulative analysis, you see that we are paying about half, or let's say if you import goods of about maybe 100,000, you are supposed to cough up about 50,000 or 55,000 as your import, duty.
In response, Commissioner of Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Isaac Crainsell, disagrees that it's been rushed.
It was not because we are just implementing. It was something that Ministry of Trade and other stakeholders decided. So it's not because someone rushed it, no. But we just decided on what they told us to do.
Okay. So despite all the reforms, the paperless, the CTN and all that, we're still having challenges with meeting our revenue targets. What is the next step? What is the customer?
The challenges, well, it is true that the reforms have come and we are still behind. But the good news is that things have turned around. From the last quarter, things have turned around because we identify issue with the import valuation, import revenue, and we thank God we have hands-on antidote to that, and things have turned around, and we are poised for a very good year in terms of revenue correction.
The discussion on the Common External Tariff is one of the major concerns to be addressed at the upcoming Importers Forum to be organized by the Ministry of Trade and Industry. Ebenezer Sabote's report for Joy Business.
Now, the recent challenges in the financial sector seem to be having little impact on activities of credit unions. Senior auditor with the Ghana Cooperative Credit Unions Association, Yao Bwachimensa, says laws regulating credit unions do not allow funds to be invested in private financial setups such as Men's Gold. Mr. Mensah made this revelation at the 8th Annual General Meeting of the Tema chapter of the Teachers Network Cooperative Credit Union at Tema.
Tema Chapter Teachers Network Cooperative Credit Union started close to 2 decades ago, with its membership increasing while the network continues to expand yearly. In the 2017 and 18 year under review, the union made a surplus of over 600,000 cedis from about 400,000 cedis the previous year. The annual general meeting was an opportunity for members to vent out their concerns before the board. Senior auditor with the Ghana Cooperative Credit Unions Association, Yaobuachi Menta, explained the reason behind the significant financial improvement. He maintains they invest strategically to ensure that members do not lose their monies. He noted the level of satisfaction and trust among members is high as returns on investment is shared amongst them.
Our funds are secured. When it comes to the credit union, the APES have a deposit guarantee scheme where we secure member deposits. So in an event where a credit union should collapse or a credit union should find itself in any situation, the APES, that's the Credit Union Association of Ghana, takes over the credit union and no single member will lose his or her deposits.
Meanwhile, chairman of the board, Gilbert Asiedu Yemete, says the union will identify new investment opportunities to improve customers' profits.
We have to look for credible investment houses to invest more of our, do more of our investments with them. Otherwise, the way things are going, you will not be, you will not know which of the investment houses will fall prey to what is happening.
The board of directors proposed a 15% dividend on members' shares for 2017 and 18.
All right, you're still watching Business Live. Corruption is what is on the decline in Ghana the first time in 5 years. That's according to the latest Corruption Perception Index released by global anti-graft body Transparency International. Ghana's score improved by 1 point from the 2017 score of 40. And so for our poll tonight, we are asking, Ghana ranks 41 out of 100 countries in the latest Corruption Perception Index. Has a fight against corruption in the country improved? Let's pull up the results for you. There you go. We've got 217 people voting tonight. 33% of you say that the fight against corruption has improved, and 67% say no. So amongst most people, we've still not improved. The majority thinks that we have not improved when it comes to fighting corruption. That's based on 217 votes that we have had since we initiated the poll. So there you go. Now, although Ghana improved by a point, Executive Director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative, Linda Ofoe-Kwafo, has warned the country should not be complacent.
I am not overly excited, but I am happy to say that the fact that public accountability played a role means that our work is actually making some gains, but we can do better. If only government will listen, if only state institutions will perform their role, if many lead institutions can play the role, the enhanced role that the Audit Service and Auditor General are doing, I'm sure we should be able to make some more gains. So we will continue our advocacy. One thing that needs to be done is to have access to information. Can you imagine if a question about are citizens able to access information, public information, even helped us to come up? How much more would an RTI law play so far as the CPI is concerned? I'm sure the question, it actually boosts our CPI score. We are looking for the day we are going to go beyond 50. TI is saying that any country scoring below 50, you are not doing well. There are so much issues of corruption that has to be tackled. But then it should be very, very important for us to put this discussion in perspective. Corruption Perception Index is talking about public sector corruption and focusing mainly on administrative corruption and political corruption. So tax evasion is not covered, money laundering is not covered. So some countries might be performing wonderfully on the CPI, but those countries might have issues with the areas the CPI does not cover. But there are other surveys that look at these ones. The Global Corruption Barometer, the indices on money laundering done by Transparency International may be focusing on that aspect. So we should not be overly sad and overly excited. CPI only looks at public sector corruption and what must be done to improve.
And it will also be interesting to find out what investors think of the 1 point gain. But that'll be it for Business Live tonight. There's more news on our website, joybusinessnews.com. We've got the latest stories for you at that website. You can always go there to read. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for watching tonight. We'll be back same time tomorrow.